All right, let's focus now on insecurity. Nigeria has been grappling with security challenges for over a decade, with the emergence of the Boko Haram group and rising crime rates in the country. Insecurity has since spread across other regions. Besides the sect, armed gangs, kidnappers, unknown gunmen, and bandit groups have exacerbated the security situation in the West African country for over 200 million people. In a recent interview, Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello scored the federal government high in tackling insecurity, saying the challenges met in 2015 have been largely solved. And joining us to discuss this, of course, is still with us, Mazi Chinedum Obioha. Thank you for staying with us, Mazi.
Thank you very much for having me.
What are your thoughts on this comment by Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello? Of course, he is the spokesperson for the campaign of Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC. And of course, he's saying this in the defense of the All Progressives Congress, that they have tackled security challenges since 2015 when they took power.
My take on that is that you don't expect him to say anything contrary to what he has said. One is APC governor. Secondly, he has been appointed as a national youth
coordinator.
Yeah. Then you don't expect him to say contrary. But having said that, I want to make bold to say that anything built on falsehood, lies, cannot stand, cannot work. And that is what is playing out. That is why we are where we are today. How dare governors say that this present administration has fought insecurity far better than it was in 2015. Nigerians, are we daft? I mean, like I said, you can only tell a blind man there's no oil in the soup. But an experienced blind man will test it and say there's no oil. What you are holding is a palm. You don't need somebody to bring light for you to see it. And that is why I get worried when these people are still coming back to tell us we have done well. Have they done well? How was the insecurity before they came in? We are only hearing kidnapping in the south, and southeast, and a pocket of Boko Haram here. But there was nothing like henchmen. There was nothing like bandits. I can't remember those things.
Have been even before the Buhari, even before Jonathan's administration.
What?
The farmer herdsmen clashes.
But it was not more. It wasn't pronounced as it is now. That's what I'm saying. Farmers were still going to their farms, but today, can they go to their farms? They can't now. That's why, if he has worked well and he has improved the insecurity here, why is it that the president now approved the use of AK-47 for people in Katsina? Why is it that the Zamfara State governor say, my people, I will defend yourself? Why is it that Benue people are now, the governor said, okay, if that is the case now, my people shall procure ammunition for them to protect themselves? Why is it that the governor of Ondo State is saying, this our president, it's like he's playing hide and seek. It's like he's being tribalistic. Let me be blunt. He approved the use of AK-47. Yet, he doesn't want other regions. And the same person, you see, that is why we cannot move forward. That is why we will continue to experience what we're experiencing. For that governor, Kogi State governor, to say that. I think these are people who are morally bankrupt. People who don't fear God. That is why P2B say, vote for people who have conscience. Does he have conscience by saying that? He said, vote for people. He's not talking about himself. He said, vote for people who have the fear of God. If he has the fear of God, can he say that? If he has the fear of people, it's because he uses SUV. He doesn't know what is happening. And that is why. And this the information they now feed back to the president. All is well. I read in the newspaper this morning where the president said that the insecurity will be a thing of the past by next year. By next year, we will not hear it. But the same people that built on lies, propaganda, and they are now here. They are now also using the same propaganda to outmatch others so that they will be they will still be in government by 2023. It can be possible.
Mazi, looking at trying to review the statement of the Kogi State Governor, one can easily classify that as a mere political rhetoric just because we're going into the campaign
season. It's a political statement.
But let's look at the reality on the ground. We've had issues of insecurity over the years, even before we became an independent nation. You had the TIF crisis, which was also the farmer herders clash way back as at the 1940s and 50s. But
it wasn't as pronounced
as it was. Yes,
it is worse. If there's anything worse, it is more than that. The people, like I've always said it, anywhere I go, I saw 50s, 60s, 70s. There has never been a time we experienced the level of insecurity as it is now. Nigerians are not happy with this government. And somebody, a governor, is having to cry it out, to say it out loud. It's not protected. That is why an international community are laughing. We are not being looked at as laughing stock.
But this is even appearing on the same tabloids where we have the story we talked about earlier, that there is now an increase in the procurement of bulletproof vehicles.
That is
why are they procuring the vehicles?
So how can you reconcile the two of them? How can you reconcile this man, the governor, the same government, because he's the spokesperson, the same person is saying we have improved in this area, and there is now increase in procurement of SUV cars for what? If there is improvement, why the mad rush? Why the increase? So the issue is this. They've started again, no. They've started again, no. They started telling us, but Nigerians should wake up from their sleeping slumbers.
Okay, Mazi, let's look at it as, the way they say sometimes you need to revisit the past to be able to address, the challenges of the present
without
project the future. We've had issues of, insecurity over the years, as I said, even before we became an independent nation. Let's look at the trajectory and how we've been able to address some of those issues before, we got to this precarious situation we're in as a nation when it comes to security, and how we can address some of our concerns now when it comes to our security. For example, way back in the 70s and 80s, you had armed robbery being rampant as well. There were
no, it wasn't rampant like that. It was once in I remember, I can't remember that man's name, the man from the then Edo State. Anene, right?
Yes.
Then I also remember it was pockets of armed robbery.
There was you
yes.
You had quite a handful of.
So it wasn't like there was nothing like I can't remember kidnapping. I can't remember Boko Haram, right? But now all these things are the order of the day. So when you see, don't compare what happened last to now. Now you see it, you are not safe. When we were in the north, how many persons, even the Inspector General of Police have warned people not to travel at night because of what? Insecurity. I remember in those days, the best time to travel at night. But today, the government, even the Inspector General of Police, even some of the government officials warning people don't travel because of the level of insecurity. So if the insecurity has improved, why are they still giving that age warning? Everywhere, you talked about it before now. Now, what brought about some of the pockets of insecurity, agitation for injustice? And the injustice we are talking about is still the order of the day today. When people are not being treated fairly, they have reason to agitate. They have reason to complain. They have reason to say, okay, if you cannot treat me well, let me be on my own. That's why you see here IPOB. That's why you see here the Oduduwa Republic or Yoruba, what a nation. That's why you say Iowa. So the country is so divided because of injustice. And that is why, look at even the Boko Haram you're talking about. They said we don't want Western education. Is that a reason?
If you say I mean perceived injustice is the reason, you know, we had some of those pockets, you know, crimes at the time, according to you, will that also be a justification for those who are perpetrating evil at this time? For example, you just said Bakaram said they do not want education. So will that also, you know, hold water if you are saying that back then in the 70s and 80s, it was because, you know, some people were aggrieved and they decided to just express, you know, themselves against those perceived injustices?
Now, people are benefiting from these insecurities. That's why it's thriving. We read that somebody, one of the kidnappers was arrested somewhere in the bank where he went to cash for 14 million naira. How on earth can the individual? That is why it sounds ridiculous to me and to any other person that you are asked to pay ransom of 15 million. How did you get that money? Where did you withdraw it? Where did you deposit it? Where? 50 million is not kept at home. Even if it is kept, did you pay it at home? You got it. You went to the bank and they got it and brought it to your house. Then where do you drop it? Who are those that went to collect it? They withdraw this money from the bank. They went somewhere to put it. And the banditries or the kidnappers have a spot where they go and collect it. And what do they use it for? They use it to procure ammunition and some ammunitions. So people are benefiting from all this. The other young guy that was arrested somewhere, he was asked how much he collected. It's about, out of 100 million, it's about, was it 200,000 naira? So you see that there are people who are benefiting from all this. What about, is it the intermediary, the mediator of Bokar and the Abuja?
Sheikh Gumi.
No, the intermediary, the man that
mediator.
Mediator. Yeah. The government have been using him for a while. And now they said he is part of them. He is the one who even negotiates international whatever. So that is people in those days, people were not sponsoring, they were sponsoring group of people. But now, those that are in authority, those who see themselves as untouchable, they are the people behind this insecurity.
But the governor of Kogi State, Yaya Bello, isn't the first to have this kind of, or say this kind, make this kind of comment. We've seen even President Muhammad Buhari saying that he would leave the country.
What do you expect the president to say?
Yeah, hold on, Mazi. So you see how a lot of people voted President Buhari into office because of his track record, especially in the 80s when he was first a military leader. And a lot of people expected.
No, we were deceived then. We thought that he was the one. Nigerians, not me alone. Nigerians, I think I was in Gombe. Yes, 1982-83, right? I was in Gombe when he struck. And that was when we were against indiscipline.
Yeah.
Q came and everybody was up. And I remember I was traveling from Gombe to, yes, I was transferred from Gombe to Medugri. Military checkpoints all over. And the highest denomination was, I think, 20 naira then, right? And if you, I remember I witnessed where somebody offered a military man 20 naira. He was asked to chew it, and they used the bayonet to strike him, and blood started coming. He was asked to swallow it with his blood. I saw it, not that somebody told me. So the military were not corrupt then. Do you understand me? So people thought that it was our able president now that was doing it. Little did we know, just like a husband doing very, very well, that somebody, who is that somebody? The wife. For every successful man, there must be a very good woman behind. We thought that it was the president, not knowing that it was Idiabo that was doing all these things. When Idiabo died, when there is I use the word breeze, when it blows, you see the fowl that's having a running stomach. Everything will be exposed. I'm trying to be so that I'll carry along. So we thought that he was the one doing it. Look, that time, I remember even David Mark. I was in Bank of the North. David Mark was the governor of Niger State there.
Yes.
And my bank belongs to the 19 state governor, I mean government of the north. And they were massively ripping the bank. David Mark ordered the directors, managing directors, managers, they arrested and took them to Niger, to Mina. They were there detained until some of them returned the money. That was when military was military. But today, there are people who are benefiting from all this. And let me tell you, people sheepishly and with the same propaganda we are seeing now said, look, the best thing we will do is to make sure that this man called Jonathan is chased away. They use what? Chased away. There will be steady power supply. How this Boko Haram will be a thing of the past. Our president said that he cannot negotiate with criminals. He said oil subsidy was a scam. Right? He said all manner of things. He said corruption. We thought that he was going to fight corruption. But do you know that the level of corruption now has outnumbered the level of corruption since from the independence to now? So what are we saying? So you are not telling me the way vote the Nigeria is it because, okay, the Supreme Court ruled that he won, right? But what do we say? He won now, but people thought that he was going to replicate what happened. But have you seen? Nigeria has been so divided badly during this dispensation.
Okay, Mazi, for all of our concerns now, I think that the question, so many Nigerians are probably asking is, the new administration coming in 2023, a few months away, how can they address all of these issues, especially security concerns, to ensure that the average Nigerian is safe, can walk freely, can go about their businesses or activities, on a daily basis without the fear of being kidnapped or, being struck by a stray bullet or what have you. So the question will be this: how can the incoming administration address these issues of insecurities,
there must be political will,
kidnapping and the issue of terrorism?
There must be political will.
Okay.
The incoming administration, that is why, excuse me, P2B, I cannot say it. I'm not supporting him. I'm not campaigning for him. He said, okay, even the former president said it yesterday, don't vote for people that will kill you. This present administration, these people coming on board, they are the ones that trouble Israel or that are troubling Israel. They are the same people. To answer your question is that we must make sure that we said this thing will not come. You are part of APC government, PDP government. They don't have any reason to campaign. They don't have any moral justification to say we want. What are they going to tell us again that they've not told us, or they didn't tell us? What are they? I mean, these are people who don't have moral, who don't have conscience, who don't fear God. They use poverty to buy those whom they feel they can buy. So there must be political will. There must be a destabilized somebody who will not protect some people. If you said, give AK-47 to Samson, give AK-47 to Chimma, give AK-47 to Abdullahi, let it be a uniform. Let there be justice, sin, not protecting one side. So until we get such a person, it's not going to be easy. I tell the grace of God, political will, and destabilize somebody.
Mazi, for all of these, I mean, yes, it's okay to say you have someone who is a unifier on board, who wants, divide the country further along, ethnic lines, and will also show that, political will to address these issues. But you talked about corruption being, endemic in the system, especially, the military, the security outfits that are meant to protect the people, protect public facilities, our national treasures like our pipelines and what have you. Now, if corruption is not also addressed, how can the political will and a unifier, bring about the changes we need within our security sector?
If you had listened to me well, I said corruption is one of the problems we have.
I did.
Now, I did mention let us have a strong institution, not a strong person. Fine. Political will in the sense that if you are caught, was it not where? Was it what is Zimbabwe? Where the president, the ex-minister of a country, had been sentenced to what? To death because of corruption. I read it last week. Shall we have that thing? The governors, two governors that were jailed, confirmed by the Supreme Court, the same government has given them presidential pardon. What has happened to the money looted? What has happened to people they denied means of livelihood? So that's why, if America, there's nowhere there's no corruption, no. But there is, if there's a strong institution, you know, when the former president of America wanted to be smart, the institution that was put in place chased him out.
See, how can we? I'm sorry, just quickly. How can we have a strong institution when
by electing the right people?
I was
not propaganda, not lies. You see, there's nothing, there's no foundation. The Bible, the Holy Book. Let me just use the Bible. The Holy Book said, if the foundation is weak, what will the righteous do? If now these people are again coming with their lies and propaganda, and they now maybe happen to come back, what is happening? What is crying? We continue to be
the laws need to be, you know, if we talk about strong institution, it has to be through the laws. I mean, the Constitution. So
it will also affect them, because our problem, part of that problem is from
that's
the
where I'm going to. That
it takes a longer time.
Okay.
And there are those who made the Constitution. It made it to favor some areas at the detriment of other people. So if our judicial system should be reviewed, our law should be reviewed to make sure, if you are, I don't want to be an advocate of the law of Moses. I'm an advocate of a good democracy, rule of law. Let justice be ensured. Justice in the sense that if you are caught stealing, what will happen? Either your hand will be amputated or your eyes to be gouged out. Anything. You see, corruption has killed this country, and that is what that's no development.
We'll have to leave it there, because we know it starts from the electioneering process.
They've started
choosing
again.
the right people, but in the end, those who would choose the right people are also being compromised
because of poverty. They use it to make sure that they strangulate Nigerians. Poverty. This time now, bag of, you see, the rice will be so expensive because they are going to buy it. An average poor woman will go and collect 2 or 3 acres, not know that she or he is monitoring.
All right, Mazi, we'll have to leave it there. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll delve into other issues. Please stay with us.